it's been a pleasure to be around your entire UFC journey, but with you, Mol, it's the highest of highs or the lowest of lows.
Yeah, there's no in between, and maybe we like it that way. I feel a bit like a Gatti or like a Mickey Ward in terms of boxing. Like, I'm going in there to leave my heart on my sleeve, and people really, they know I don't leave any stone unturned, and they know it's my life, so I don't really get trolled if I lose, do you know what I mean? It's a bit like Cowboy Cerrone, like, you're always going in there to win, and I've never turned down an opponent. I've never shied away from it. I've gone into fights knowing stylistically it's going to be a really, really tough night at the office, and then you're going to have other fighters who'll say no, do you know what I mean? But I'll go down as a female Mike Bisping any given day. Any given Saturday night, I'm coming to take your head off.
Do you think that'll, you know, hopefully how it'll play out for you though as well? I have a similar feeling about Till as well. Neither you or Till, I don't feel like you'll ever go on this 10-fight unbeaten run and become a champion. It'll be a late
2 weeks notice, yeah. I can't remember who it was, but Mike took the fight against Rockhold, 2 weeks notice. Southpaw, caught him with his left hook, won the world title. Could you just imagine me fighting Shevchenko with Southpaw? My left hook's my best shot. It's going to be something like that, but I just feel like I've turned a corner, and I don't have pressure on me, and you'll know, you've seen me grow in interviews, and you'll have seen me grow in performance, and sometimes they're very intense, and it's going to be this, or it must be this, and now it's just like, I know I've done all I've needed to do every fight camp. So as long as that's the case, then I'm capable of beating you. And I'm aware of my style that people can't handle. So we try to polish off the diamond, but ultimately I'm a diamond in the rough, and it needs to stay that way. So organised chaos is what works for me. And being a perfectionist, sometimes that was hard because I wanted to look a certain way, but that's not fighting. Fighting isn't perfect. It's winning. And I kind of just took a Justin Gaethje, Daniel Cormier kind of approach, and that's who I want to be like now. A bit like Peter Yan also, where he's a lot more polished, but just the way he's approaching his fights is, he's small and built like me. So I've just had to draw from people with my kind of stature in their weight divisions to be like, right, where am I getting a bit unstuck here? How are other people dealing with that? Do you know what I mean? And DC's like the king of, well, range and height shouldn't really matter, because it didn't matter to him, so I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I've got to find my way through that adversity, and I know that's what I've been able to do now.
When you were Cage Warriors champion and the opportunity came to sign with the UFC, we had a conversation. You said, I've got to move on to fight the best girls in the world, and I know it's going to be a hard road, I'm going to have to learn on the job. Looking back now, has it been tougher than you thought it was going to be, the highs and the lows, both psychologically and physically, winning and losing on the biggest stage possible?
Yeah, I don't think people are honest enough, or maybe people don't feel as much as what I do. Some fighters are very, in a positive way, arrogant enough to not have to feel what I feel. Do you know what I mean? But the losses have took me down the loneliest, hardest roads, like more painful than sometimes losing a family member, because it was in my control to change the outcome. Whereas like grieving a loss of a loved one is out of your control, but this was in my control, and I wasn't able to overcome that. So it's been really, really, really hard, and my mission is to just be the working class hero, and I feel if I can't overcome these adversities and show people as well as myself I'm capable of overcoming it, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and I shouldn't be the role model who I think I am. So for me, understanding that I can cope with a loss, it's just really horrible and hard. It's something I've had to become accustomed to. But even when I'm coming into training, if I lose rounds, Paul Rimmer can see it. and he can see it in me, and he's like, his biggest thing is like, calm down. And I'm just like, the day, coach, I'm listening to you, I promise you I'm listening to you. But the day that I don't this, I can't fight anymore, because it just means I don't want it. Do you know what I mean? It might be a bit detrimental, but the day that you stop striving for perfection and what we do, you shouldn't be doing it anymore, because you're not doing it for the right reasons.
You've given so much back outside of the octagon. You know, you said then, you know, you want to be true to you inside the octagon. Well, you actually have wrote a book called Be True to You about life outside the octagon as well. Tell us a little bit more about the book.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like I'm wearing the UFC top, I'm not sure if you see it, but on the back it says we're all fighters, and I'm lucky enough to work for a promotion and a company who celebrate equality, and like I do stuff for my community where I live, for the kids in my community, and I was like, how can I help the LGBTQ community, or how can I help these kids who aren't able to be true to themselves just yet? Because culturally and to religious views and certain areas where you're from, you can't always be gay or queer or anything like that because it's not accepted, do you know what I mean? And I wrote my book, it's an illustrated book for younger children, just to explain my journey and how it took me such a long time to be who I am. And it was MMA that was like the biggest. Mixed martial arts provided the space for me to feel safe because of my coaches at this gym and the people at this gym allowed me to be myself without judgment. And then I was able to be strong enough with myself to be like, well, hang on a minute, I haven't been true to who I am, and this is actually who I am. And it was the scariest thing I've ever had to do, is to tell your truth again and again and again when you've got so much going against you in here and in here, so much conflict, running away from who you are because of the fear of being shunned. And then the reality was I was never going to be shunned, but when you're a kid and the skit is this, that and the other, and you have a negative perception of the word gay, you're running from it subconsciously, not even knowing. And that's what I did, and then I overcame it. And in the book, it'll just basically go through my whole little story, and then in the back pages I kind of put, and here's space for you to tell your story. So be it kids in the care and a social worker's bought the book, or if it's a coach or a teacher or a parent or an auntie or an uncle, this book is there now to be shared with the younger generation, and they have an inkling to think, oh well, this person might be gay, or this person might be a bit homophobic. They need to understand that it can't be. There's space for them to write down their feelings and to learn and to be educated. And then at the back of the book, it explains the flag that forever changes, and the extra QT pluses. And I understand it's a lot to keep up with, and sometimes people can switch off to that. But I also understand it's very important to be aware and kept up to date. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to do my bit for my community, and it's really hard to. When I came out, I'd done like obviously everyone knows I've been out, but I'd done my coming out story for the book release, and it was really hard to have to come out again and again and again and again, because I was constantly facing my demons always, do you know what I mean? But other people have put that on me. And I said to you all downstairs before, a lot of people acknowledged their part in why I feel the way I feel and apologised for it, and that's kind of all you can ask for. And I've had people say, well, I'm an ally to you now, and I've bought these books so that I can tell my nieces and nephews or my kids to not be how I was, because subconsciously people are taught to be homophobic by accident, whether it's using a homophobic slur as a joke. I don't take offence to it, do you know what I mean? But then there's sometimes when it's not a joke and it is a derogatory term, I'm just not into that. So I'm not a snowflake by any means. I train with men all day in the men's banter kind of, I know, like locker room chit chat, do you know what I mean? So it's not meant to hurt your feelings. But sometimes, sometimes people need educating. But it's funny that in a gym like not like my gym, but in gyms, in MMA gyms, you don't really get it. It was more in a purist gym, in a different discipline that's a bit more traditional, you would kind of get it.
Why do you think in female professional sports, not just fight sports, but across the board, female athletes are very open about their sexuality and it's kind of accepted, and it doesn't, and gladly in this day and age, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But very much in men's professional sport, and I can absolutely include mixed martial arts and the UFC roster and that. You know, you're telling me there's nobody on the UFC roster that is gay and is a male? Of course there is.
Yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
What must be frustrating for you is why aren't they coming forward? Like the girls come forward?
Yeah, I have this conversation quite a lot, and it's to do with masculinity and showing a sign of weakness. I imagine that they're going to be trolled and ridiculed with the word gay, queer, FAG, like all these kind of words that will be thrown at them, and they're not ready to take it. But then, like I was saying to you, this last year, when you see the NFL, ice hockey, there's a lot of like British Olympians who came out just before the Olympics, and it's starting, the tide is turning because people are a lot more accepting now, and especially with the Black Lives Matter movement last year, as well as still going on now, people are more aware, like you have to be more accepting, and we have to be more educated as to the struggles that everyone's going through. But like I was saying to you, I've had conversations with male fighters and I've said to them, why can't you come out? Because you won't get any more abuse than what I get. So if I can do it, like, why can't you? And I think when people hear that, it might resonate with them a little bit more. It's going to take one person to come out. Just one person it's going to take to come out. And then I think in combat sport, that'll start the chain of events. But it's a lot of educating and the older generation. Do you know, like men getting changed in changing rooms together and sharing showers and things. I think it'll just, old school people will be like, well, I'm not sharing a shower with him. Do you know what I mean? When it's like, well, he was never going to look at you anyway. Do you know what I mean? But it is about breaking down this stigma and understanding that a gay man, a gay male will not fancy or be attracted to every other male in the room. Obviously, yeah. But like, there's just a lot of education that needs to go along with that. So with every day, I feel like we're a little bit closer. But like I was saying to you, like I've got stuff in the pipeline post-fight and for next year where I'm really going to try and help that in the combat community. Does that include, obviously, you're a Stonewall ambassador now as well? Yeah, like I want to do as much as I can without being too much, do you know what I mean? So promoting the message, but without diluting it or without just shouting it at people and preaching it on people. Like, I'll have to do it in a specific way. Like, Stonewall is a charity which is just, it's built really just to help the gay community and to provide education and support for people. Some people come out and are shunned from the families and have got nowhere to live, and like it's just not fair. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, my mum always said, like, what's your fight? Because everyone's got to fight for a minority. Do you know what I mean? I was like, well, it's for my city and it's for my community, both communities. You know, like working class community and also the LGBTQ plus community. So. Your last fight on your current UFC contract, I think that means only one thing, doesn't it? Can you see that? Can you see the goosebumps that I got there? That means vintage Monty McCann, doesn't it? When your back's against the wall, that's when you see the best of you. Listen, I'm probably going to have one eye. No, for me, I envisage it every day. I wake up, I put me Jamie Webster on my vinyl, I put this place on, I listen to me tune that just embodies Liverpool, the passion, the hunger, the desire, the drive, and all I think about is that walk out to that octagon. Now I've been there, the cage is smaller, I'm aware of what she's going to bring. I know she's not going to take a backward step, and neither am I. Now when that kind of fight happens, I always come up trumps. My career, my livelihood, my everything relies on this fight. and it will be, I will get my first finish in the UFC, I am telling you now.